Hey traders, Raghee here, and in this recap video, we're going to talk about the Canadian dollar and what happened after the CPI hit. And really what the market discounted very swiftly was a chance that the BOC could hold off on a rate hike. And ultimately what happened here is that shot dollar Canada straight up and shot Canadian dollar futures straight down, and that was in a lot of Canadian dollar weakness. Now, that may not seem like a big deal until you think about where the Canadian dollar has been on the relative performance chart over the last month. It's been by far one of the biggest gainers. This has to do with the NAFTA, really much more truncated timeline. This has to do with a somewhat hawkish Bank of Canada and also the TPP, which the Trans-Pacific Partnership, which Canada is a member of. So a lot of things were looking good for the Canadian economy and the Canadian dollar, until we saw today's CPI. Now, mind you, the US dollar was also holding its own. You could see that by the weakness we saw in Euro-US. So Euro-US weakness equates to US dollar strength. But dollar Canada and Canadian dollar futures saw a lot of Canadian dollar weakness. And where this has landed us is probably within what could be the first swing short in the loonie. Now, I say the first because this is relatively aggressive. What we don't have are 5 propulsion dots. So the minute you don't have basically the 3 to 5 grab candles, then, not and, then it says 3 to 5 red grab candles and then 5 propulsion dots. We don't have that. We have the 3 to 5. We don't have the 5 dots. You've got an aggressive downtrend. So here, actually up at 27.55, this area is actually the daily price movement range projected high for this pair. And in turn, it sent the Canadian dollar lower on the futures contract. So it's the same trade, just the order in which the pair is quoted. And there's 2 things here. You know, I talked about filters in the premium video, day trading filters, and how important that is to have. Well, there's end of day trading filters too. And if I'm going to have a textbook or a much stronger, better chance at playing an established trend, I want that 3 to 5 grab candles and then 5 propulsion dots setup. Now, this is still interesting to me, but what you can do when you have a less than perfect daily trend is turn into a day trader. In other words, wait for the market to roll over. In other words, ask yourself where this market's carried swiftly higher. In other words, let's take a look at the dollar Canada and say, look, you know, I do want to short this, but let's wait for the intraday to roll over. And then once that rolls over, I can play the momentum short to the downside. And it's actually looking pretty good on the 5, the 15, even the 30-minute time frame. And the process of a wave rollover is really the sequence we look for in the wave, the grab candles, and break of the Darvis. And I think a level through 27.30 could be very interesting next week. So as we wrap up the week, I want to have Canadian dollar buys on my mind, and we're going to look to see if the market just didn't overreact to the CPI and whether or not there might be some tremendous opportunities to buy Canadian dollar against the yen, against the US dollar, and the Australian dollar. So we'll keep an eye on that for next week. Could be really nice trades for us. Until then, have a terrific weekend, gang. Take care.